My Destined 1, Tensura x Arifureta by Void Kane. Ch 65. War continue and another war? Ah. W. What are they? Multiple scream can be heard in a distance. Wara multiple soldiers are being slaughtered. How can they be this powerful? Said Michael, who is watching his soldier being defeated one by one. You send a message to Raven that we've been ambushed. The messenger obeys and immediately runs. Oh no, I didn't said that you can leave. A man with red hair and 2 horns on his forehead shows up and cuts the head of the messenger. Yes, it was Benimaru who arrived. I'll give you a chance to surrender and we will guarantee you your life. Surrender, you said. Don't make me laugh, you lowly monster. I'm Michael, one of the 12 priests that serve the Celestials and also one of the commander of this army. I'm Benimaru, one of the 12 patrons that serve under the great demon lord Rimuru. I advised that you surrender and I will guarantee you your life. Surrender? That's nonsense. I'm enough to eradicate you, lowly monster. Michael said with an arrogant tone. Well, his strength and power are enough for him to qualify as a commander, but his brain is lacking. Judging by your words, you're not the only commander here, Benimaru said. Indeed, there's also another one, but I'm enough to destroy you, Michael said while drawing his sword that's on his side and taking a battle stance. I see. Then let's see if that sword is more than just a decoration. After Benimaru said those words, then he attacked Michelle at a fast speed without using any form of magic and skills, which Michael barely managed to block. ACCKKKK, this guy is strong. I barely able to block his attack. Michael uses his magic to strengthen his body and send a counter of his own. After that, they both exchange attacks, sending shockwave to the battlefield, but the difference in strength are obvious. Michael is already using his full power while Benimaru hasn't even used 5% of his power and is only playing with the guy. Ha ha ha. Michael had been exhausted but still keeps standing. I admire your resolve, but it's useless. I'll give you another chance to surrender and I'll guarantee you your life along with your soldiers, Benimaru said. Never, Michael screamed. I see. Then there's no need for you to live, Benimaru said. The cut of Michael's head without him knowing anything. Seeing their commander lose, the remaining soldiers surrender. Alright, let's get moving, Benimaru said. Meanwhile, back in Rimuru on Tortoise, they just finished celebrating the rescue of Rive and Sol. But boss, leader, is it okay now? It seemed that the cam bug had finished celebrating. They went to Hajime's in Rimuru's place. The 3 of them had serious faces and it doesn't seem like this is a welcome greeting. Hajime quickly transformed the chairs and arranged them in a circle, glancing at them and telling them to sit down. First of all, even though a lot has happened, to put it simply, it seems we've gotten a little rough, Hajime said. Yeah, we certainly did, Rimuru replied when summarizing from the moment Rive and Sol's story begins. It can only be like that. To gain more demi-human slaves, the soldiers who had come to attack the Sea of Trees were now in chaos. But they were defeated by the spirit that Rimuru summoned, but still some of them got captured. The Imperial soldiers seemed to be extremely wary of their surroundings. Their comrades kept disappearing from outside the ring, and by the time they found out, their heads had already been removed from their necks. That professional assassination group is still a mystery along with the spirits. The Empire has no way of determining their identities. Then they made a plan. It was the Imperial capital being surrounded. Demi-humans were captured and blood rushed to their brains when they couldn't let it go. They could run away quickly if they saw an opportunity. The Empire attacked and burned the edge of the Sea of Trees. These angered the dryads that Rimuru summoned and killed all of the Imperial soldiers. Because that, the Imperial soldier got angry and tortured the captured demi-human. Taking advantage of the time when Philia Bergens was in turmoil, they seemed to have attacked with pre-organized plans. It seemed they also knew it was attacked by a demonic beast. It's the right time. It was inconceivable that under such tragic circumstances, Cam's group could be completely calm. And, the Imperial soldiers were similar. In the end, the mysterious group of people who carried out the assassination attempt was none other than the rabbit people who never knew how to fight. Furthermore, even though they weren't in the Sea of Trees, they still coordinated well and fought on par with the surrounding Imperial soldiers. The result is, we were captured alive, and questioned day in and day out. The enemy was interested in how the Julian clan could change so suddenly and where our new equipment came from, and they also want to know about the spirit that's protecting us. Julian, and they're going to Philia Belgian. Seems like they misunderstood that we are Philia Belgian Task Force. Actually, the whole clan is about to be executed. If our connection is discovered, it seems not only ends with deportation. The interrogations asked about the connection between Philia Belgian and them. Although it was said countless times that their relationship was not very good, it was just an act of suicide to protect their country. Especially because of their fearless smiles when the emperor came to watch the interrogation. His eyes lit up like a child finding a new toy. "And, what are you sorry about being caught? Hurry up and get the point across," Hajime said. "Sorry, boss. Well then, the main problem is that we gathered many new members of Horia to form the new Horia race. With that, we decided to go to war with the Empire." Hearing this, Rimuru looked at Cam, but what he saw was sharp eyes. Time around them stopped. Inside the illusion, Hajime and Rimuru, all the members of the Julian tribe, all movements stopped and began to freeze. They still didn't understand because of that sudden idea. Surrounded in silence, only the sound of insects calling in the rocks at night. Shia broke that silence. "Father, what are you saying? Did I mishear? Right now, I want to hear the reason why my family is fighting against the Empire." "Shia, you didn't hear me wrong. We, the Julian tribe, will be at war with the Empire. I certainly said so." "Don't say such stupid things. What are you thinking? Sure, everyone has become very strong, but isn't it only about 100? Even fighting the whole Empire? That's crazy, Dad, because of resentment for your fellow human beings. You can no longer think clearly, right?" "Shia, that's not it. We're completely sober. Listen. I don't use my bunny ears to listen to such things. If it's not revenge, you're just going overboard, aren't you? If that's the case, pick up your weapon now. You'll be my opponent before everyone who fought the Empire. Allow me to cut off the long part of that nose." Excited, Shia took out the Doryukin from her treasure warehouse, and, pishy, she spun around with a fierce whistling sound. Shia pointed it in front of Cam's nose. Her expression was reckless, nothing but absolute anger for thinking that Cam and the others were planning a suicide attack. Shia's magic power overflowed around her body with blue light, and the physical pressure overwhelmed them, even surpassing the #1 hero from another world that was considered a cheater. Of course, Rimuru, Seal, Sakura, Chloe, Akame, Hajime, Yu, Tio, Kaori are not affected by these. Really, the fury of unimaginable power couldn't be something that came from Shia, who was always smiling brightly. Kuki and the others held their breath. However, Cam and Doryukin were pointing at his nose with a power that stunned even the hero, just silently looking at Shia like still water. They stared at each other, or, while holding their breath, everyone was staring at the two of them. As expected, the one who moved was Hajime. Before anyone could notice, Hajime was already behind Shia, and as if Shia was a wild animal, he grabbed her silky tail to calm her down. Suddenly snapping at it was too strange. "Heian, no, that's no good, Hajime-san, stop." In fact, in a different way, it would have felt better if her rabbit ears were captured. When her tail was touched by Hajime, it already started to feel good. Shia put both her hands on the ground, began to let out a gasp, ha, and looked at Hajime rebukingly. However, her eyes were also wet and irritated. She was just showing off her charming figure and nothing else. "Wow, Hajime-kun is a perv." Dopan Rimuru tried to say something, but as always before he can finish, Hajime fired his gun at him, but it didn't even pass trough Rimuru's barrier. "Tisk, I'll kill that cheat ability of yours." Because of that bizarre situation, everyone's faces turned into dots because in an instant, the atmosphere turned pink. A few people are also flexing. Everyone is surprises except for the girls that knows Shay. Ignoring Rimuru and people around, this time Hajime stroked Shia's rabbit ears. Though not in a lewd way like before, being gentle made the pain go away. Although Shia looked at Hajime reproachfully for him sexually harassing her in the middle of a serious conversation, right after that those eyes looked very pleasant. "How do you feel? Have you calmed down a bit? Cam hasn't finished talking yet. It wouldn't be too late to blow them away after hearing everything, right?" Hajime said. You, that's right. I'm sorry. Blood kept rushing to my brain just now. I'm fine now. I'm sorry, Dad. What's wrong with worrying about family? No need to feel guilty. Moreover, I should listen to what you have to say too. Thanks for everything lately. I'm almost forgot about the worries. Even so, Kukuku. Fish, what is it? Dad laughs like that. No, more than anything I just hope you're happy. You seem to be a little more loved by the boss? When will I get to see my granddaughter? Nah, lie, shame. What are you talking about? Wait, we don't have, Cam was teasing her. Shia looked up at Hajime repeatedly with a red face. The Horia all smirked. Really, everyone shows a good personality. Hajime, thinking that. Then he briefly ignored it and asked Cam. Cam, even though I don't think so, about what happened just now, you don't intend to wait for us to join. Haha, how dare I think that? It's just, the reason for this decision is even possible thanks to the boss's training. So, this decision is ours alone. At least that's what it is. I believe. Cam smiled and rejected Hajime's question. Looks like they really decided to act on their own, Rimuru though to himself. But if that happened, this decision was nothing but recklessness, so they began to worry about the reason that led to this decision. Shia too, Cam and the others were being too arrogant with their power. They were really serious about not harboring any intention of revenge. A sad expression appeared. What's the reason? Rimuru asked. Nothing good. You want to hear? I thought you and the boss weren't interested in this. If your decision is because of my training, then doesn't it affect me when you do something careless? If it's just that, it's not something I shouldn't do. No. Hajime said that and looked at Shia. Cam guessed his intentions. His eyes softened and happily. I see, nodded, and he started talking about the reason. As I said earlier, rabbit people are the taste of the empire. And it's a top taste. The empire is a country where people believe in the principle of the possibility of being the supreme ruler, the current emperor. And, from the perspective of the weak, their personality is basically ingrained by that principle. In other words, you mean the emperor will hunt the rabbit people because of you, instead of killing you? He wants you to become his? Rimuru said. Cam wanted to reply but Rive answered Rimuru's question. Yes. While I was still being interrogated, the emperor came in person and he said, I'll keep you. Of course, I spit on him right away. With Rive spitting in the emperor's face and insulting him, Horia said, no shame, and with enthusiasm, Kuki and the others said, did you do that to the emperor, while unable to hide their astonishment? No one can blame them. From time immemorial, Rive was the first of the rabbit people to spit in the emperor's face. Even Hajime and the other girls involuntarily exclaimed in admiration, Ho! However, it seems to have had a side effect. Capturing all the rabbit people and training them seems like a lot of fun. Laughing with a very greedy expression. When he declared that, his face was very seriously he will invade the Sea of Trees again. More rabbit people will be attacked this time. Philia Belgian hasn't rebuilt yet. They won't be able to withstand the attack, so, looks like the emperor will requesting tribute of all the rabbit people to him for an armistice, Cam said. I see. If this had been planned in advance, they would have captured your whole family, Hajime said. Exactly. If only Julian survived, it wouldn't be too difficult. But because of us, all the other rabbit people would lose their future. That would be too much, Rive said. It seemed that the matter was bigger than expected. Cam and Rive's group's worries were justified. As Rive said, if only Horia survived, it wouldn't be too difficult if they desperately escaped and fought the gorillas in the Sea of Trees. But all the other rabbit people would face hell. If they couldn't satisfy the emperor's request for a mighty rabbit bender, women and children would probably be killed instead of being enslaved. But you can't be sure that an army of just over 100 will be able to resist the empire, right? Rimuru asked. Of course. A head-to-head confrontation with just eloquence is impossible. We're the fox people, we won't lose to anyone in terms of stealth skills. Cam said and laughed from ear to ear. Hajime and the others also guessed what he meant. In other words, assassination? Rimuru said. Exactly. If they bared their fangs at us, the moment they were defenseless, their heads would be blown away by the blade of darkness. Slowly, fear and a sense of panic would sow within. Never knowing where the attack is coming from. The rabbit people will tell them the strength of our species. We are not the weakest or the lowest of the species. They will recognize us as the termites threatening but can only kill and do nothing else. All of the Emperor's factions, don't you think they have a plan to resist the assassination? Hajime asked and Rimuru noted. Of course they might have prepared. However, we're not targeting the Emperor's faction, it's the people around them. As expected, not a single citizen tightened their guard. Yesterday, today, our trusted people, one by one will disappear. What we can do now is this. I think it will work quite well. Then in the end, it will be perfect. If they promise not to touch us again. Are they serious about this plan? Rimuru asked to himself. It was an unbelievable plan. But instead of saying that they would assassinate the Emperor's faction, they came up with a very realistic idea. However, with it, since there was not enough time to make the Empire feel fear, which could almost lead to an all-out revenge, the Empire would decide to completely annihilate the rabbit people, or they would feel scared and decided to go to the negotiating table. It was clear which decision would be made. They are really betting. However, still, if things were to end, the Wraiths would all suffer a bleak future into the future. Everyone's expressions seemed like they were psychologically ready. Father. Everyone. Shia's shoulders drooped dejectedly. Turning the Imperial soldiers into enemies, the rabbit people who had just escaped from the labyrinth in the Imperial castle, what was otherwise called a prison. If the Emperor hadn't ignored this interest of his for the public good, she also guessed that might happen. The road ahead for the rabbit people, they can reject the others for the sake of Julian's existence. All members will be happy if they become toys for the Emperor. They will risk their lives to fight and live exist. That is the only option. Shia, don't make that face. We won't run away with our heads down like before. We'll end up chasing them back. Reluctantly surrendering ourselves to them is shameful. Now, we will fight like this. With this ambition, we are extremely excited. But, Shia, victory is for survival. We won't. However, our aim is not to survive. Our aim is to live with the pride of Ahoria. Against any no matter what force, if we retreat now, we'll still be the same losers as before. It's just unacceptable. Dad. Look ahead, Shia. Don't hold us back again. You made your own decision. When you go outside with the boss, to move forward. With that determination, keep going. Keep going. Cam, not as a boss or leader of a battle group, but as a father, patted his daughter's back. They could not allow themselves to stand still any longer, and the rest of them wished to move forward. Shia, after being looked at by those gentle eyes, her expression turned upside down and she looked like she was about to cry. Cam looked over at Hajime and nodded. He wanted him to take care of his daughter. Instead of Hajime, Kuki had a silent expression. Essentially, I'll do something. He stood up despite the solemn atmosphere. Shizuku hit him on the back of the neck with her black kanata. Seems like she was under too much stress. The way she stopped him from becoming serious wasn't like she was when she was in love. When Hajime didn't have any reaction, Shia looked back at him. But before she could even open her mouth, Cam called out to her with a firm voice to stop her as if he knew what she was up to. Shia, it was a shock, so much that Shia's body jerked up. Cam and the others had no intention of asking Hajime or Rimuru for help in the first place. Right now, relying on Hajime or Rimuru's strength and relying on them as the solution meant nothing would change. As Cam said, this is a battle with the pride of the rabbit people. And Shia also understood that. She could also run away before, so she understood. Right now, there was only pride for being Hajime and Rimuru's comrade. However, she felt that her family had bet too much. In the end, she remained silent without being able to say anything. Hajime looked at Yu, scratched his head and sighed, and, as expected, Yu's gaze softened and she nodded as if she understood what he was up to. Then Hajime looked at Rimuru and the other and they also nodded. Hajime smiled and called out to Shia, who was still looking down. Shia. Hajime-san. Shia's eyes sparkled with hope. This time I can't go to war. I see. That's right. However, Hajime's words made her lower her face again. Behind him, Kuki shouted something, ignoring the black kanata that hit him to the side, knocking him unconscious. Hajime pinched Shia's drooping cheeks from rushing to Shia's conclusion. Oi, miss, don't be so hasty. Even though I won't fight, I didn't say I won't help you. Phew. Because of Hajime's words? A cute word came out from her mouth while her cheeks were still being pulled. Cam's group looked at each other with surprised expressions and tried to understand what Hajime meant. In this case, the Julian family must show their strength. You must let the other party know that the Julian race is not a weak opponent. Discrimination against demihumans is an unwritten law in this world. If I fight to protect you, the same situation will start again when we return to my world. Above all, it's Cam and them's wish, that's why I won't set foot in this battle. Hajime patted Shia's cheek and turned to Cam. However, my energetic teammates put on this face. If you think I will obediently stay on the sidelines, you're wrong. But, boss. Well then, what? Cam showed intense embarrassment, Hajime boldly declared with a smile. Cam and the Hooligan. Your strange tactics are rejected. You all put your swords directly to the Emperor's neck. Grab his hair and press his head down. Relatives, friends, all the subordinates. His own down before him occupy the imperial castle. Without reinforcements the empire will end by the time the sun comes up. Curve in their bones the Hooligan will kill them whenever they want. Anywhere in this world. There is no safe place. If confronted with the Hooligan tribe, the first parade will happen, forcing them to write it down in the history of the empire. Will they be really alright when we get back to Earth? Rimuru wanted to say something but decided not to say it since he also know that nativity can cause downfall. Silence covers the whole area. Everyone became intoxicated by Hajime's mental toughness. Gokori, the sound of swallowing can be heard clearly. Hajime glanced around, roaring in an angry voice that could be mistaken for a thunderclap that made everyone hold their breath. What's your answer? Beeps. Sir. Yes, sir. I didn't hear well. Are you maggots going to war with this aura? Are you all just beeps? After all, Hajime. Sir, no, sir. If you're not, then prove it. Instead of chasing the flies, attack the Emperor, Hajime. Gung ho. Gung ho. With your sword of revenge and your sharpened endurance, cut down all who stand in your way, Rimuru. The beginning, the first part. The first part is beheading, all prepare well for you, and the main role is still yours. I don't allow half-heartedness. You know, Hajime? Aye, sir. Very good. Warm up. New Hooligan tribe, with 122 people, Rimuru. You will take down the Imperial Castle, Hajime. Yaha! What are you planning to prepare? Isn't it impossible to take down the Imperial Castle? Those thoughts and doubts flew from the completely excited Hooligan's head. The person they called the boss and leader was saying that he would give them the key to the door to victory. Then, if they don't wait and go ahead and cut through all the obstacles in front of them, it will be a shame for the new Hooligan race. They wouldn't be able to show their face or face Hajime or Rimuru who trained them. So, Hooligan's heart and mind became one. They were burned with fighting spirit to defeat the Imperial Castle. In the rocky field far from the Imperial capital, the screams of fighting spirit and killing intent resounded. Shizu, those people are scary. It's okay Suzu. I'm scared too. I mean, in the first place, Nagumo-kun's idea was basically scary and Rimuru-kun didn't even say anything. Nagumo, who would have thought that he could play Hiroman-sensei, he's not so bad. Ryotaro. Why, I seem to feel a bit intimate. No matter how you look at it, it's an unusual atmosphere. Shizuku and the others could only look at Julian who was enveloped in strange heat with stupid expressions. But his administration for the two brothers had increase. It's amazing. Rabbit people can change like this. It's true Goshujin-sama. Smashing the empire an immediate goal. This woman can't take it anymore. Bye. Women want to be tormented by that spirit. Shut up, this perverted dragon. Haha. Luckily Velzard-san and Velgrin-san is not like Tio-san, Chloe said to herself. Tio-san seems to have some self-respect, doesn't she? Furthermore, look at Shia's expression. She's melted. And cute, because Shia didn't cry. I'm really happy. That's right, that's good. I want to hear those words myself. Did you foresee what would happen from the beginning? The darkness in Shia's eyes was swept away and it gradually softened, although Kaori was relieved to see this. After that, Hajime and Rimuru detailed the overthrow of the Imperial Castle, then decided that they would rest to prepare when another time came. Shia, for a moment didn't want to leave Hajime. Her normally dynamic image was quiet now, but she was no longer depressed. She blushed and hugged Hajime and clutched at his shirt silently. Her bunny ears occasionally touched Hajime and continued to touch again. Thus, even though it was nothing special, it was the feeling of wanting to be with Hajime.